Why is Israel the best among the nations despite all the accusations leveled against this country? These are the words of an article in the Italian newspaper Il Foglio, and I want to read it to you because it's really quite a remarkable piece. This is what they wrote. It is helpful to know and appreciate the unity of Israelis and their desire to be part of the family of nations. I'm not aware of any other nation on earth that, since its establishment 75 years ago, has had to sacrifice 25,000 soldiers to ensure its existence. I do not know of any other nation on earth without recognized borders. I'm not aware of any other nation on earth whose population has lived under constant emotional pressure since its establishment. I do not know of any other nation on earth that is constantly in danger of being wiped off the map. I do not know of any other nation on earth that is threatened with boycotts from north to south of the globe. I do not know of any other nation on earth that has won all the wars imposed on it without achieving a ceasefire that suits it. I do not know of any other nation on earth where disrespectful and offensive words are said during official visits. But I also do not know of any other nation on earth that has recorded so many miracles in such a short time. Imagine a naked and defenseless Jew in front of the crematoria, and a Nazi official who was sure he was about to rid Europe of the Jewish cancer. Could that Jew imagine that 75 years later, other Jews would be flying F-16 planes over Israel and above Auschwitz? Could that Jew imagine that the population of Israel today would be 10 times larger than it was in 1948, the year the state was established? Could that Jew imagine that in Israel we're much happier than in many European countries? Could that Jew imagine that Israel has the highest production of scientific publications per capita in the world? Could that Jew imagine that Israel has the highest number of chess grandmasters per capita of any city in the world? Could that Jew imagine that Israel is the nation whose academy produces more scientific documents per capita than anywhere else in the world? Could that Jew imagine that Israel is the nation with the highest rate of degrees and university population in the world? Could that Jew imagine that Israel is the country with, relative to its population, the highest number of startups in the world? Could that Jew imagine that Israel is the country with the highest percentage of home computers per capita in the world? Could that Jew imagine that Israel is the country that has absorbed the largest number of immigrants in the last 50 years? Unfortunately, you will not find this news in the media because it doesn't fit the stereotype that condemns Israel as a colonialist, Zionist occupier. In the world's consciousness, the word Israel must be equated with an aggressor. But the Jewish state, despite the hostile media and politicians who do not lack cynicism towards it, proves that it is capable of offering the best it has for the benefit of humanity. Terrorists and their supporters around the world despise Israel because it is a light to the nations, that in this part of the world are an ocean of mediocrity. This is from the Italian newspaper, as I said, Il Foglio. Two reflections. Number one, I think Israel is an embodiment of the Jewish people's story. Throughout most of Jewish history, the Jewish people have been few in number, scattered everywhere, intensely persecuted, and despite all that, survived and transformed the world's values. Look at Israel. It's a microcosm of that story. We are few in number. Israel is few in number. Scattered all over the world, well, the Jews that have returned there come from all parts and corners of the world and all colours. And then you have the intense persecution. Israel's in a neighbourhood of aggressors that want her dead. A tiny, tiny sliver of land surrounded by vast land masses with people and governments seeking her destruction. That's been her history. And despite all that, Israel has survived, seen off her enemies, but not only that, as this article says, transformed the world in the process. The second thing I want to add is that, yes, there's been so much that Israel has done, achieved, and influenced the world with, particularly in the area of technology. But the Jewish people's true calling has always been to be a light unto the nations, specifically in the terms that Isaiah meant, the light of God, bringing the light of God and God's voice to the world. The Jewish people have achieved so much in that regard already to transform the world's values towards a vision that God has for this world. But clearly we have more to do, because we haven't yet reached that perfect messianic vision yet. And so in that sense, that is where Israel can really, truly shine her light. the Jewish people's survival against all the odds, really, on its deepest, most fundamental level, represents the divine hand within the Jewish people's story and the story of the world. And that's why being a light on that front, on the front of revealing the voice of God to the world, which the Jewish people were charged to do at Mount Sinai 3,300 years ago, that is our most important calling, and that will be the most fundamental answer to the ills of the world and of the region that we're seeing. Thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.